Hello everybody. In this video, we will try to understand some more interesting things about Krittika Nakshatra. In the previous video, we observed what are all the different energies of different padas of Krittika Nakshatra. Krittika first pada has some military pursuits, and the second pada, where moon is exalted, has lot of motherly nature. Of course, if Mars is present in the Krittika Nakshatra second pada, those natives are more into receiving the nourishment, whereas with other planets, actually the natives themselves become very giving and nourishment giving, nurturing giving natives they become, right? Especially when Saturn is present in Krittika Nakshatra second pada, those people are, they are ready to create some motherly environment and they are ready to nurture others. And the third pada, basically this particular third pada, Krittika third pada, we say is a university of zodiac. They are very good in training. They promote all kinds of learning. Krittika third pada promotes all kinds of learning. Basically, it's a kind of university of the zodiac. And the fourth pada, and that pada, those natives are very good in group work. When they work individually, their performance is average, but when they work in group, yes, the performance enhances exponentially. And basically all the four padas are very good, but Krittika Nakshatra is not at all about spirituality and all. It's more about materialism. And if you observe the professions related to Krittika Nakshatra energy actually attracts these kind of professions. Basically, Krittika people can penetrate into your emotions and they can understand your emotions. Basically, they are critics. They can be very good managers. And of course, they have some Martian pursuits because of especially Krittika Nakshatra first pada. And other padas as well, they have some martial pursuits. So they are generals, military generals. They are the people in authority positions, and of course the teachers, educators, university related professions are very good in that. And if you observe, Krittika people are very good in understanding the emotions of the people and play with them. If other planets permit, if some bad planets or malefic planets are present in some other energies, then Krittika energy works that way, like understanding the emotions of the people and playing. So they are very good at, they are very good lawyers, they can be very good judges, surgeons, and people who make swords, because basically Krittika means a sharp object, scissors, a knife. So knives, sharp objects, swords, right? When blacksmiths. So this is Krittika basically. And creative arts, to an extent they are good in creative arts involving especially the use of fire based processes, because Krittika is fire. And jewelers and glass makers, all military professions, police, firefighters, explosive experts, those who work in foster homes and orphanages, because Krittika is more about fostering also. Because the Krittikas, the seven wives of seven celestial sages who look after the affairs of our galaxy, they basically nurtured, nourished, and gave a lot of training to Lord Subramanya, Lord Kartikeya. Instead of saying Subramanya, here you say Lord Kartikeya. And that's why, that kind of fostering. So, who raised Lord Kartikeya? Foster mothers. So there is a concept of fostering here. and professions connected to rehabilitation of addicts of all kinds, whether it be related to drug addiction, smoking, alcoholism, weight problems, right? So rehabilitation is actually present in Kritika energy. Professions involved uh, in promoting methods and techniques of self-improvement, techniques for self-improvement or self-assertiveness. Spiritual teachers to some extent. uh, Actually, the Kritika has less side of spirituality, but the spirituality of Kritika is something like um, purification, right? So purification by you can say worshipping sun or fire. So professions involving fire like things, fire dancers, fire sacrifices, professional archers, barbers, hairdressers, tailors, work involving use of needles like embroideries because sharp objects, right? Gold diggers and miners, cooks of all varieties, because nourishment, basically cooking is nourishment. So clay objects like bricks for building houses or ceramic objects. This is a kind of creative side of Kritika. And one more thing is even any kind of fire related things, right? Cooking related uh, people also related to Kritika. So all professions involving use of fire and sharp objects basically related to Kritika energy. So if you observe the places related to Kritika, the places with hot climates, deserts, these are all related to Kritika only. Agricultural lands, cattle, because agricultural lands, because it comes under nourishment, and tropical forests, volcanic areas, so military bases, government buildings, universities, and rehabilitation centers. Rehabilitation is very much involved with Kritika, and even orphanages, fostering, right? And mines, factories, industrial areas, they involve generally fire, right? In one form or the other, those places involve fire. So any kind of fireplace you can relate it with Kritika's energy. And all places related to fire, sharp objects, and also training centers. This is all Kritika's energy. So Kritika basically involves this kind of fire, sharp objects, and also nourishing, nurturing, motherhood, motherly related fostering, basically the orphanages, so rehabilitation centers, universities, training institutes. These are all related to Kritika's energy. And Kritika is a Rajasic Nakshatra due to its association with dynamic qualities like individuality, projection, motivation, leadership, right? So it's a Rajasic Nakshatra, you can say, and it belongs to the earth element. So because it's in the most of the nakshatra is in Taurus, which is an earthy sign, right? So Aries is a fiery sign, and then Taurus is an earthy sign. So the fieriness of this nakshatra manifests itself through the earth element, basically. So Kritika is a kind of cooked food. Kritika represents all matter which is made useful in some way by the action of the fire element. So just as food is made, by process of heating, right? So by using the fire element, it makes things better. Cooking food and all are related to Kritika. So it is considered a Rakshasa nakshatra, a demonic nakshatra, because of its demonic quality, like its cold-blooded, merciless approach to acts of violence like killing, etc. But Kritika's this kind of short temper, you can imagine. So Kritika's fieriness is a kind of king's fieriness, as we discussed in our previous videos. Because a uh, king's temper would be for not a long time. You generally, right? It's a kind of short term temper. So they do not have any kind of you know. Bad intentions, but their fire is a kind of uh, it just lasts for some time, and they do not have such kind of revenge taking attitude, but to an extent it's a kind of you know a normal fiery element, you can say. The fire is just to show the anger, that's it. So it just works by the tit for tat kind of thing, the cold bloodedness, or the kind of temperament they show. It's a kind of tit for tat. It's not so very dangerous, it's not too much dangerous, that's what I want to tell. It's a downward nakshatra because, in keeping with its penetrative nature, Krittika is always more interested in what is below the surface. So, for example, in relation to Earth, Krittika would relate to the fiery core. So, fiery core of Earth is at the center. So, you can see it's a kind of downward nakshatra. It's a penetrative nakshatra. So, on a more personal level, if you observe, one will find that the latent fieriness of Krittika native, it remains hidden basically. But if there is some external agency that can take the fire out, yes, the fire may come out. So because of some other person, they may try to ignite these people, and they may try to show up more anger. It's a mixed nakshatra, so it's not very much dangerous. That's what I want to tell you. It's a mixed nakshatra. So it alternates between a kind of sharp and soft. So its sharper side is basically the Kartikeya. You can just see that is the sharpness of, right? He is the general of the celestial gods. So of course he attacked the demons and he killed them in wars and battles. So Krittika usually uses its sharper side for commanding purposes. Its softer side relates to the nurturing and maternal qualities of the 7 wives, as we discussed. So it alternates between sharp and soft. It's not a very dangerous nakshatra. That's what I want to tell you. It's not a very dangerous nakshatra. It relates to the first half of the lunar month of Kartika. So on the Kartika Masa, the first half of the Kartika Masa is related to Krittika Nakshatra. Only it's generally late October and early November, you can say. So Krittika is also related to the 6th day. That is, we generally say it is Shashti. Even people, celebrate Subramanya Shashti, right? So is a 6th day of waxing and waning phases of the moon's monthly cycle, right? So every month, wherever you see Shashti, that of course that has some Kritika's energy, you could say. And auspicious activities that you can perform on the day of Krittika, something like fire worship, purification rites, right? So giving up old habits, making swift changes and sudden endings, and anything related to fire, sharp objects, teaching, training, right? Some acts requiring some kind of initiative, courage, leadership, executability, just like how Kartikeya, declared war on demons and just own, right? So that shows the courage and leadership, and making important decisions, military activities, military related things, even debating, standing up for oneself, and cooking, embroidery, cutting, shaving, all these sharp objects related things, all activities involving the use of fire or heat, all mothering and nurturing activities, good for starting any kind of education related ventures, good for commencing new ventures in general on the day of Kritika, good for activities requiring a sense of discrimination, because Kritika energy is very good in criticizing others, understanding the internal behavior or the emotions of the other persons. So it is able to criticize. The criticizing energy is always present in Kritika. So activities requiring a sense of discrimination, honesty and frankness they generally have. And drumming activities also you can start on the day. So most activities are generally favorable in this nakshatra. It's not a very very dangerous nakshatra. So inauspicious activities, generally socializing, diplomatic activities, they cannot be very diplomatic. Kritika doesn't allow the people to be very diplomatic. So rest or relaxation is not in Kritika, basically. Any water-based activities are also not good. Basically, it's a fire, right? So when you want to get some water bore, then it's not a very good thing to start on the day of Kritika. Kritika is all related to fire, right? And planetary ruler of Kritika is Sun, so he is also a fire. He's the main ruler. You can know Sun is fire. So the Sun is giving lot of energy for Kritika energy people. It's giving a lot of energy, independence and power. So Sun's rulership indicates the penetrating insight, right? So they have this penetrating nature. So self-motivation, all present in Kritika, just like the Sun, right? So Kritika goes on about its objectives in a straight and it's a very straightforward fashion it works. So the first pada, if you observe, it's co-ruled by Mars because the first pada is in the sign of Aries. So the combined energies of the two military planets, Sun and Mars, as making Kritika first pada is very good in military activities and of course very harsh in approach and functioning. Kritika first pada basically. So it can ruthlessly conquer and any obstacles, you can say, and even enemies. With enemies also they are very harsh and they're really eliminate them. Kritika first pada is very good in that. So the rest of the padas, if you observe, they are co-ruled by Venus because Kritika second, third and fourth are in Taurus, ruled by Venus. So Sun and Venus are natural enemies. So the Taurus part of Kritika has more to do with harmonizing harmonizing the things rather than having a cutting or no nonsense militant approach. Only Kritika first pada is very very sharp, very very harsh. So Krittika, the solar energy, is stronger in comparison to the solar energy of Krittika is very good in Aries compared to the Taurus, the Venusian energy, right? So, and if you observe the dynamics between Sun and Venus, it's really interesting. Especially Kritika's second, third, fourth, they are in Taurus as a Venus. Taurus is Venus, and then Kritika is related to Sun. So the dynamics of Sun and Venus are present. Kritika 2, 3, 4. So if you observe, Venus is usually described as the hidden minister or the queen's minister in the planetary hierarchy, right? So moon is queen, generally we say, and Venus is queen's minister. So Venus, however, brings in love, caring and harmony into Kritika's hot, strict domain, right? So Taurus is a kind of balanced, but Kritika first pada is not that much balanced. They are very, very harsh in nature, because Kritika first pada is in Aries and it is ruled by Mars. So Mars and Kritika's first pada is basically is related to uh, Mars and also Sun, because Kritika's ruler is Sun. So the dynamics of Sun and Mars are very, very simple. They're straightforward, they're related to military activities, so no nonsense approach. But if you observe 2, 3, 4 of Kritika, a Venusian energy with Sun, that kind of chemistry, right, is a kind of finding a kind of balance. Finding a kind of balance can be observed here, because Kritika is basically hot, but Venus is caring, loving, this kind of things. So basically, Sun and Venus are both, they can find some kind of balance even though they are enemies here. And one more thing is, both of them are creative, right? Both of them are creative, because Sun is basically, if you observe, he is a ruler of Leo. Leo is natural fifth house, and that's where the creative arts comes into the picture. Creative arts come into the picture, right? So Sun is basically a Sun is related to creative energy, and Venus is also related to creative energy. And you can also see, even with irrespective of Leo's rulership, if you observe Sun, he is the creator of energy. 24/7 he creates energy. He's a creator basically. And Venus, it's a feminine planet, and it's very, very creative. So Sun and Venus are both creative planets here, and they strive for knowledge and forms the core of Kritika's energy, because most of the Kritika padas are in Taurus. So Sun or Venus, Sun or Mars conjunction or exchange in a horoscope is similar to Kritika's energy. Sun, Mars and Venus usually give good results, right? Of course, it depends upon the pada. And then, if you observe, the sexual animal of Kritika is sheep or goat, an animal which is seen as a rather passive creature. However, the ram, the animal symbol of the sign Aries, is capable of much aggression and fighting qualities when roused, right? So Kritika first pada, you can see it has more sexuality compared to other padas. You can say that. So you can understand the sexual energy of Kritika here, right? Now, one more important thing is, there are many stories relating to the birth of Kartikeya. So one of them is something like Kartikeya was born as a result of Shiva's sperm falling on earth. So Shiva is a kind of, it's here in this story you can equate Shiva with Sun, and the original masculine principle in the form of the sign Aries. Aries is the sign of creation, because Aries is the first sign, is the sign of beginning. While the earth, if you observe, is basically the earthy element. That's Taurus is earthy basically, right? And you can see, so Lord Shiva's sperm falling on earth, right? And then Kartikeya was born. that story is a kind of bridging between Aries and Taurus, because Taurus is uh, earthy element, earth basically. And so the Kritika is bridging Aries and Taurus, because Kritika's first pada is in Aries and 2, 3, 4 padas are in Taurus. So you can see the pattern, right? The energy patterns similar here. So you can clearly see a mingling of energies here, the bridging between Aries and Taurus, because the sperm, which is a kind of heat, right? There's a kind of heat and earth falling on earth. That's where Kartikeya born. So Krittika Nakshatra is related to Kartikeya. And now Krittika is the point in creation where the fire element converts itself into the earth element. Right? So Krittika is the point in creation basically. And one more thing is, Krittika is the place where the 7 wives and these 7 wives are actually the 7 stars present in the Krittika Nakshatra. And of course, we're denoting them as the 7 stars in the Krittika Nakshatra are basically, we are denoting them as 7 wives of 7 celestial sages that are looking after our galaxy. So these wives are supposed to be the foster mothers of Kartikeya. So Kartikeya, as we know, is the deity presiding over the planet Mars. So clearly you can see this particular whole thing is giving us a sense of Martian energy. It's a nourisher of Martian energy, right? Because Kartikeya is Martian energy. It can be seen as a cosmic university of sorts. You can, if you observe the whole thing in terms of cosmic energies, if you just relate. So here the Martian qualities are trained in Krittika. In Krittika, the Martian qualities are trained, because after the training of Kartikeya, only he defeated all the demons. So the association with Martian energy is very much significant. And one more thing is, most of the part of the Krittika is in the sign of Taurus, representing Earth. Right? And Martian energy is trained here. So basically, I want to tell you here, Mars is very, very much related to Earth. Right? It's a kind of, the Martian energy is very much connected with Earth, I can say, from this. And then the evolution of life on Earth, right? The evolution of life on Earth, because Lord Shiva's sperm falling on Earth, and then Kartikeya was born. Kartikeya is related to Martian energy. Mars was born. A Martian energy was born. Right? So basically, you can clearly understand the 3/4 of this nakshatra has more feminine principle, we can say, and the first part, basically Krittika first pada, has more male qualities, the Martian qualities. And this nakshatra is related to the sage Angirasa, one of the 7 sages. Sage Angirasa, you say. Whenever you talk about Krittika, you talk about sage Angirasa also. So the name of the sage, if you see, Angirasa means the fiery one. So that's where the sage Angirasa. And for those who are suffering actually bad effects resulting from affliction to this nakshatra, that means a planet like Rahu is present in Krittika, there is, let us say, or some bad planet is present in Krittika, and you observed because of that energy you're suffering, then the best remedial measure is worshipping of Kartikeya, worshipping of sun, along with recitation of Gayatri Mantra. And one more important thing is, you can also have some kind of respect towards the 7 wives every time, right? So on the day of Krittika, let us say you have some Kritika's bad energy in your horoscope, some bad planet is sitting in Krittika, then just show some respect towards the 7 wives, the Kritikas, or pray Lord Kartikeya, or recite Gayatri Mantra and show your respect towards Lord Sun. And the mantras like Om Im, Om U, Om U. So these kind of mantras also do well. On the day of Krittika, you can chant these mantras. And one more thing is, even the persons having positive energy can also recite these Om Im and Om O and Om U. So they can also get some benefit. If you have some good planet, yes, your good energy will increase. And generally speaking, Krittika energy people generally better they wear all bright fiery colors like gold, orange, red, yellow, and variegated colors like some variegated colors that you see in the peacock feathers. And better you follow the lunar month, that is the Kartika Masa, the first half of the Kartika Masa. You do some important things related to Lord Kartikeya, or worshipping of sun, showing respect towards the 7 wives, the Kritikas, on the first 15 days of Kartika Masa. That is a good thing. And if you observe, another important thing, as everyone knows, Adolf Hitler's girlfriend has her 7th Lord Mars placed in Krittika. So 7th Lord generally represents husband. So 7th Lord Mars, basically the 7th Lord Mars sitting in Krittika. That's where Adolf Hitler is actually his military general there, right? So there's a connection of Krittika to military generals, training centers, fire, sharp objects, right? So even Even you can see the motherly nature present in Krittika because moon exalts in the Krittika second pada. And according to Varaha Mihira, moon in Krittika gives a bright appearance, fondness for others' spouses, extreme appetite, and widespread fame. So, this is Varaha Mihira's view about Kritika's energy. Extreme appetite is really seen in Kritika's people because it's fire basically. Kritika is fire, a lot of fire. So you can clearly understand the Kritika energy in prominent Kritika natives horoscopes. So this is all about Kritika's energy. It's not very dangerous energy. It's good to an extent. The fire is very useful because by using fire only we cook food. It has motherly nature associated with it, right? It has training, nurturing, nourishment. Kritika first pada is basically very it's more related to military. It's more related to harsh speech and harsh things. But 2, 3, 4 padas, they can find balance between this harshness. And Kritika's second pada, where moon exalts, is more into motherhood and showing motherliness towards people, especially when Saturn is present in Kritika's second pada. Yes, they serve you better. They show that motherly nature towards you. So this is all about Kritika's energy. In our next video, we'll try to talk about another nakshatra. Thanks for watching this video.